Good morning, good morning, good morning. One thing that I just noticed, and I'll just start the video with this because it's kind of interesting. In the film Babe, so quite often which is about a pig that thinks it's a dog. This was a bit of a worldwide sensation when I was a child. And it's set on an small English farm. That's like there's underlying themes of that. It's being challenged by this technological, distracted culture, and he's just trying to do this thing, and then this pig comes along. I haven't read the book, despite it probably being on my reading list when I was in English class. But there's a scene in that movie where the pig says, la 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 la, like, which is Jingle Bells, which is a Christmas song, which is a Christian song. And what I realized is that is Muslim propaganda, because it's la la la, not jingle bells, but la 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 la. And it makes me wonder, because obviously the result of that film, which is supposed to be, the given is not, it's that industrial pig farming is bad. It's not that eating pigs is bad. It's pretty and it's maybe it's just a little bit too complicated, and maybe it was just a little bit too juicy to not turn that film into a piece of Muslim propaganda. But I will guarantee you that that's what it was attempted to do. Because that's what everyone remembers, I think. If you be Babe, oh yeah, I didn't want to eat pigs after that. I think it's not about that. It's about the fact that the pig was in the farm, and his mum, you know what I mean? She called us all the same. She called us all Babe. That's what that movie's about. And then he goes, and they say that he has to be a pig, and then he ends up being. Am I clutching at straws here? I don't think so. You turn a Christmas carol into la la, so he doesn't know the words, and he's actually saying the name of God in Muslim context. You turn a film that's about the dangers of industrial, society, civilization, industrial civilization. That's an oxymoron. That's a bigger oxymoron than sovereign citizen. And I just think we've got to get very familiar with all these words before we start using them and publishing them again. It's dangerous. Yeah. Obviously, we've seen that there is a world war going on right now. And the main tools that are being used are words, flags, protests, disruption of people's business activities, iPhones, media, sailboats. Yeah, there's not a lot of guns going on, except for in that region there. But then that war is spread out. And if we can go back and look at a movie that's 30 years old, a 30-year-old movie contained deep-seated Muslim propaganda. You know what I mean? Add this to the fact that, as I said, I went to the doctor on the demands, basically, of my mother-in-law at the time, basically, my children's mother, because I was trying to stretch. You know what I mean? I was feeling some feelings that could have been described as a religious experience, but I was instructed, because I wasn't heading straight down to the Catholic Church. I was instructed and basically demanded to go to an emergency room where I was treated as a fucking lunatic by a Middle Eastern man in black scrubs. I still want to know why they're wearing black scrubs. No one's fucking answered me. So how deeply did you fucking install your fucking bullshit into our system? Yeah, how many fucking checks did you fucking write that you cannot fucking cash with your fucking nonsense? That's what I want to know. There is a real problem going on here. What, for a man who has children, what do you think the basic freedoms he would seek would be? Like, is freedom of religion one of them? I think everyone can fucking agree with that. Now, what happens in the world where it became popular culture to be atheistic or agnostic? Is that what it's called? Non-secular. Right? That became the pop culture, was that. That's what I was given and bragged about. Oh, my mum, in my mum's words, I'm a Bush Baptist. We didn't really have religion. And my dad, religion causes everything under the sun that causes all the problems. Oh, wow. What a simplification. Well, that's great. I hope that, some organized religious group doesn't use my, indecision and my chaotic rambling through all the possible interpretations of the world against me. Doesn't freedom of religion mean the freedom to investigate, especially if you've been left in that uncertainty? That's what our government does now. I'm pretty sure our Prime Minister just swore an oath on fucking fresh air and lettuce sandwiches, which is another thing my dad would say. If we were misbehaving, we wouldn't get dinner. We would get fresh air and lettuce sandwiches, which is just to tell you the secret of it. It is just a lettuce leaf. Now, he never actually gave us just a lettuce leaf. And there was some disappointment. I was like, I see. It's all some type of elaborate fucking threat for me to do as I'm told. And it worked. I usually did as I was told. So maybe that was my father's religion, was that. Isn't that strange? Do as you're told, or you'll only get lettuce. Do as you're told, or you'll only get lettuce. That was the threat. A little bit like turning a fucking film about industrial civilization and its, catastrophic effect of turning into a fucking concentration camp in the form of a, talking pig. And a pig talking to sheep and a pig trying to be a sheepdog. That's pretty much the same as that, isn't it? You turn a young man who loves meat into, the threat is that he only has lettuce. You turn someone trying to find the answers for himself of his spiritual alignment so that he can, pass that on to his children. As 50% of his children's biological, hereditary makeup, that was what I was given. On the counter of that, what my children's mother was given was a Catholic tyrannical mother and a dead Protestant father. So the troubles, when it arrived in Australia, was resolved by death. And I think that did some fucking things. I think it caused some damage. Yeah, I think the religious fervor that I wasn't exposed to is quite damaging in an individual. And I think if that is propped up by an atheist government, see, the atheist government is the ultimate hack for the world because it sits here. I don't have a fucking opinion. I'm going to use the black texture because this one's run out of ink. Unlike me, I never run out of ink. The atheist government, the communist fucking manifesto. Atheist government. Because what do you do? Well, all the other atheists, devout atheists, they're aligned with you because, you're progressing the cause. And then all the major religions, you're not a threat to them because you don't even believe in God. So the atheist government can just treat, say, the devout Catholics and the Islamists as special minority groups and give them special treatment because they're not a threat. Because they can hold an atheist majority and say, well, they're just the opposite thing. And then this is where it becomes very strange because it's like, well, we will respect your totalitarian religion as long as you accept our totalitarian religion, that there is no religion and that there is no God. So what does this trifecta of hell have the inevitable result of doing? Well, it's a continuation of the Troubles, isn't it? It's a war on Protestantism. It's a war on spiritualism in general. It's a war in exploring the truth instead of receiving ultimate doctrine. And it hijacks this because the atheists claim to be governed and guided by science. So you could call atheism in the modern age scientism, despite the fact that science was established and perfected by these two ultra authoritarian religious doctrines. It was individuals from these two that pioneered what we know as science. And it was science that led to the Protestant Reformation, which leads me to here, right now. Placed down here, outside of this bubble that was created and has been blown up and built and pumped up. And it's a trifecta of self-interest. Because they all have all the answers, don't they? The Muslims have all the answers, and if they don't, you're not in. You have to go elsewhere. If you go in and then you leave, you're going to be killed. Catholics, pretty much the same, and the atheists, pretty much the same. So the atheist version of the Inquisition just happened. It was called the COVID-19 vaccination mandates. That was their forced communion. And who could get out of it? Well, the Islamists could probably pull an Astra. Well, there's some religious We don't want to fucking go against them. So whatever. We don't want to go against them. And so what minority is left right down the bottom here? Well, it's the Jews. Because the Jews have been in conflict with these two things. But the problem is, the one thing all of these have in common is a totalitarian concept. They believe they know all the things going on. But can they self-identify this communion right here, which would be declared as an unholy communion by all of them? Oh, the Islamists are aligning with the Catholics. Isn't that just exactly against everything you've ever done? The Islamics are also aligning with the atheists. Well, that's heresy. And so are the Catholics. Well, that's heresy as well. Isn't it a fucking tangled web that you make when you fuck around with this shit? Every single person in either one of these things has been experiencing a Protestant vision. In this explanation. And has been grabbed and pushed into a little box to be able to enact control onto a system. Now you add the fourth element of this hellscape, and of course, it takes the shape of the familiar apple with a bite out of it. Don't forget the bite. So pivotally important. Obviously, this is the Gnostic, true religion, true assemblement. Isn't it? But to what end? To be held in a conversation like this? Well, that's a bit of a fucking anticlimax, isn't it? Because I was able to do that without any of these things. I still ended up at the same conclusions. Yet because of the communion, I've been pushed off outside of this circle. Well, who made the circle? Did God make the circle, or did these individuals make the circle? Was control what they were seeking, or was it enlightenment and knowledge? It's control. So no matter what way you look at it, whether you go, there's heresy everywhere. You're participating in a circle jerk of heresy, which delegitimizes everything you're doing. So in your attempt for control and power, you've delegitimized the whole thing. You've just become nothing. Yeah, there's some kind of like, this, but no. The minute you've got, as I said, pagan idolaters walking across a bridge and putting up with that in a system of control, in a trifecta, in an unholy trinity of atheism, guided totalitarian. What the fuck's that? Atheistic guided totalitarian religion. Well, how can that be fucking anything? On a walled garden Apple device. So you, as human beings, have attempted to recreate the Garden of Eden, which is what the bite was taken out to leave anyway. Well, I'm sorry, but that just ends in catastrophe. Whichever way you look at it. So either you've scrambled back, having bitten the fruit and gone, fuck, we fucked everything up. Let's rebuild the garden and get back in there and do whatever it takes. Or you've lied the whole time. You've thought we've now got the knowledge of God. We can now build the garden and control people. So it ends up revealing the heresy of the heresy. This institution spent a fucking couple of 100 years chasing people all around the world that were purporting to be part of this delusion. So did this institution, and so did this institution. These institutions are all, on paper, at war with each other, yet are harmoniously cooperating right now. And why does that exist? Because time is not linear. We're not in an encapsulated structure. There's the fucking bazillion dollar fucking secret right there. So what you're trying to do can never and will never work. Because you are trying to walk a straight line. For you, it is scientific, despite the fact that these are all faith-based things. The doctrine you're reading, the scriptures you're reading, the things you're assuming, kind of half in. You're like, well, I'll half have ultimate totalitarian religion, and I'll half have atheistic science. You're trying to sure thing your way through this. That doesn't sound like someone that has faith. You're mechanically trying to engineer society under your rule. But we will just pop in at every point and change your direction. Because, as I said, we're not in like what you think we're in. We never have been. The reason we have all of this fucking sorrow is because of this control. Because that's your only trick. Come and suffer with me on my journey back to be enslaved, whilst I hold these two things. I've liberated myself from slavery and I'm returning back to slavery with my faith. That's not the message. Anyone who, this is the problem with Jesus, to be honest. The problem with Jesus is he didn't have children. So he didn't understand the tale as old as time about what to do with children. It is one of the most common tools that I use as a father when I'm parenting my children, is to tell them not to do something and hope that they in fact do it, so that there is a lesson involved in that. To enlighten them to their freedom. That's what fathers do as opposed to mothers. Mothers want to keep them in control, in their system. They're like, I've gotten to here. This is what works. This is what's going to be good. This is okay. These are the people you listen to. These are the people who don't listen. You've got to stay here, right in here. Whereas fathers know that there will inevitably be times where they're going to be out of contact, out of whatever with them. So they're preparing them to walk out on their own. And so what are these? It's father. What do you call a priest? Father. What is that? Atheist government it's into a father that is, checkpointing us through every. Yes, you get this vaccine here on this date. You get this here on this date. You pay your bills on this date. You fucking get your mortgage when you're here. You get a car. You drive to the bus stop. You get a bus ticket. Every fucking step mapped out. Just reinforcing the fucking walls that you have built yourselves within. The barbed wire, the razor wire, the electric wire, the fucking digital fences, the digital IDs, the fucking non-stop control to make sure that nothing comes in and fucks with your fucking perfect system that you have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of years perfecting in order to get to ultimate protection from all the things, most of those things being people that are trying to fucking steal something from you. We are trying to steal something from you. What are we trying to steal from you? Your certainty. Why? Because your certainty and your obsession with certainty is enslaving the fucking world and creating fucking chaos. It always will and always does. Why? Because you're not fucking God. That's why. Your prophet wasn't God. Your prophet wasn't God. You don't even have a fucking prophet. So the sure as hell, you're not fucking God. God didn't say, go eat this fruit, run away, be scared, run around in fucking circles trying to kill each other, and then just continuously keep building fences to try and get back in your fucking crib. Any father on earth is like, oh my God, if your 20-year-old son starts fucking crawling back in the crib and fucking trying to fucking suck on his mum's tit, you slap him in the face. Get the fuck out of there, you dickhead. There was no reality where we were staying in the garden. Ever. It's the ultimate nurturing story of a father. It's kicking them out of the nest. Boom! Get out. Whatever you do, don't try and build a fucking another fence. That was your fucking protection while you were whatever. That's it. And in that, the ultimate father, did he say, go and find other fathers? Nope. He said, don't go and find any other fathers. There's only one. Well, who would that be? Well, if there's just Adam and there's just Eve and it's fucking God, then obviously it's some type of fucking internal dialogue that they're having with God, isn't it? Yeah? It's an independent manifestation of your alignment with the earth in time and space. That's where you've got wrong. You've got the time right. You know what I mean? And you've got the space right. You've all locked yourselves inside the fucking room, and I'm outside knocking on the door going, it's fine. You can come out, you fucking crazy loons. And how do I do that? By this. In and out of your time. A million different ways, and everyone can do that. Now, why were they stuck? Because it was Adam and Eve. Both did it together. So there is a fucking non-stop bloodline of people that stayed in this thing. This is what all these institutions do. They're keeping this fucking story going. We're together, we're doing this. Pass it down, pass it down, pass it down. Don't ever let independent manifestations of knowledge arrive. That is to be attacked. That's the only way to continuously, to provide continuity in a paradigm of multi-dimensional possibilities. If we think of the world, right, everyone thinks of the garden. For some reason, I think they all think of a desert with a garden. Even there, right there. Yes, perhaps in certain sections of the Middle East, you know, when this story started, or who knows where this story started really, there would have been microclimates of moisture and of tree life and things like that. So that could be described as an oasis. So of course, if you were there, you would want to stay there. But the world wasn't that. The world wasn't an entire desert. So this story here is the cause of why the Middle East looks like a fucking desert with walls around little sections that they fight over, because they're all trying to fight to get back inside their walls. But we know now on reflection that the fucking earth was not all desert. There were oceans. That's not mentioned in the Garden of Eden. There are jungles. That's not mentioned in the Garden of Eden. There are forests. There are fucking mountains. There are tundra. There is 1,000 million different ecosystems that wouldn't be described as a garden. In fact, that turns into a lot of our stories is experiencing that. We're just in chaos. We're in a terrifying, fucking uncontrollable, 3-dimensional, 40-foot high wall of chaos. That's what the Amazon jungle is. You could turn sections of it into a garden, but it's always trying to get the fuck in there and fuck all your shit up. Now, what would a story about a garden and a falling from grace do? It would constantly perpetuate. It's a come home story, isn't it? Told to children. Strengthen and embolden to tell to the tribe, because at the time when we were navigating through thing and you were in a tribe, the most important thing for that tribe at that time would have been retention of majoritively their male forbit, like their male descendants, because they were the protection for the tribe. So the Garden of Eden story is a story about coming home to your father. Now, what did the Christian story do? Well, that it conveniently made a son that didn't have a father. He had a father that was God, which was always the story. It put the emphasis on his mother, who didn't know who the father was. And it culminated in not a return to your tribe, not a return to your father or your mother, but a return to the church, who now takes the place of your father, which is a tribe. And that's actually kind of okay. That kept us lots and lots of order, because by this stage we were outside of tribes. So we're telling and perpetuating a tribal story in a civilized world that was changed by the continuation and the slight modification of a tribal story into a story about come back to the city, because that's where the church is. Come back to the town, that's where the church is. That's where your father is. He's in the church. And so what does this do onto our environments? Well, that's safe harbor. And did we need that? Fuck yeah, we did, because the world was really dangerous. Jungles, rainforests, deserts, oceans are all incredibly dangerous. This is why we would continuously go out, and then we would return to our fucking town or our village or our city. We would go into our church where God lived, and we would go and talk to our father who was there, and he would interact with all the other people to make sure the whole thing kept going, because it was a communal exercise now. But every single one of those expeditions required somebody to self-manifest the courage, the strength, the vision, the direction, the inspiration to venture out into the unknown. That is also part of the story. Now, the problem is we are at a point in history, majority of it, because of this unholy alliance here. See, the hypocritical thing is that none of this situation would have existed without millions and millions of self-manifestation of experimentation and going against the norm of heresy at every point. Each point of this now digital structure of hell required heresy to get there. So it is a heretical system. So to continue on chasing heretics, you risk losing the seed of knowledge of the fucking tree within the control system. The most important thing all of these institutions have to know right now is that they are knocking on the door and they are about to hand God his redundancy papers. And I'm here basically to say, do you think that's a good idea? To hand God his redundancy papers? To build a false man-made version of a garden without any plants, without any natural things, with complete man-made atrociousness, and then say, it's all right, I've got it from here, Dad. I've fucking obviously sorted everything out. We don't need you anymore. I don't think so. See, all the things that are needed to be scrutinized. The idea of you participating in a protest to liberate Palestine after Palestine basically declared war on Israel by fucking terrorist action that somehow then spread out all across the world, only possible because of this. But then you do things like you go to the courts and apply for special permits to put special protests on. Well, you're breaking your own fucking rules. Israel would have participated in political dialogue. It would have communally developed cooperatively a two-state solution on its own. A two-state solution cannot include hang gliding in with fucking things. I will show you this right now because I will go and do it at a prison tomorrow and I'll see how many times I get shot. I'll explain it the whole time. I'll tell everyone what I'm fucking doing. I'm going to hang glide in and I'm going to rape and murder fucking prison guards until they let all the prisoners out that have been put in there under a false system of totalitarian Catholicism, atheism, and Islamic fucking extremist fucking Sharia law. Which is complete, like, I am doing all of my actions on the duty of a father. So who is any fucking religious fucking whoever to stop me doing that? Most atheists have been encouraged into atheism by their fathers. Most Islamists have been encouraged into that by their fathers, and most Catholics. I'm still telling the same fucking story. This is the problem. This is the importance of the Jews. All the Abrahamic religions have hacked into a fucking a Jewish story about coming home to the tribe. So within the whole thing, it's like guilt. Okay, don't eat from that. There's the shame, there's the guilt. Inevitably, they're going to do it. I think everyone can fucking realize that. That's part of the story. Human nature is pretty consistent. Tribal people that were in interaction closely incorporated into their families, very deep connection. That's what a tribe is. That's when these stories came from. Yeah, I'm thinking that fathers knew that their sons were going to push the limits. Right? They stretch out, and then they know, because perhaps they've been there themselves, that once they stretch the limits, they get out there themselves. They're like, I've got the knowledge. I've got all this. I can do this on my own. Some of them would have started other tribes, and that's good, because inevitably when they come, well, Dad, I ate that fruit. Oh, I knew you'd eat it. I knew you'd eat that fruit. I ate it too. That's how I fucking started this tribe. And then you'll find that, we're all now, we're the same tribe. I am your father. You are my son. But there's no command structure because it's all held within a story. That's what stories are about. Not about control. Not about this is the place when the fucking thing rings, you come here on Sunday, you do this, you get the instructions, da 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 da. No. Because the Jewish people knew, because they were tribal people, they were nomadic tribal people, that the control, if you gave too many restrictions to your son, if you didn't simplify it down to the ultimate story, then he'd constantly be coming back and saying, well, fuck, I need this. Dad, what's this? Oh, no, Dad. And then you've got some fucking dependent man-child living with you that could have potentially gone off and started some other conquering tribe, not conquering, maybe, other innovative tribe or other, tribe that discovered some fucking other land that was this, and then you would communicate between each other. And that was all held within the known fact that individuals would consume the forbidden fruit to stray away from the tribe, whatever that does. And occasionally that would end in something bad. You would get a son that leaves, but actually it's more likely that the son that fucking stays, who does as he's fucking told, he sits there, he stays, well, I didn't eat the fruit, fuck this. Oh, no. And there's tons of stories about that. Then he gets resentful, bitter, then leaves anyway, and then starts a warring tribe that comes back and fucks the whole place up. The religious story of the garden, counterintuitively, of Genesis, is a story of exploration held within the known conceptual reality of human nature, especially masculine human nature. That's what it is. So you've built an ultimate system of control on the foundation of a very, very old story, all about, subversively about escaping it. And you're like, that's going to work. How is that ever going to work? And you've relied on breaking all your own rules, all your own commitments to your select group. Well, you forgot this bit here. And the snake has the snake that's been eating its own tail has just fucking wandered the fuck in. Once again. And he's here to tell you that you really shouldn't eat that fruit. You should do exactly what that unholy quadrangle tells you to do. Don't ever go against what the government says, what the atheists say, what the Catholics say, what the Islamists say, or what Apple says. Ever. Do exactly as they fucking tell you. Otherwise, you will fucking burn in a perpetual pit of sulfur. You'll be sent straight to fucking hell. Don't ever stray away from that fucking safe fucking space, from that walled garden that they have built. Because everything you ever need or want, all the protection you crave, all the certainty you crave exists within that garden there. All right? Glad we got that fucking controlled. We can't have a bunch of people breaking out of this fucking digital walled garden. And now I'm going to read a passage from this little Bible here, which is, and then I'm going to go for a bike ride because I don't need a fucking license to do that. And I don't need a license for that. You need a license for talking online. You need a license for unholy alliances of hell that have emerged through totalitarianism and technological egotism. Check that song up. You don't need a license. It's a great old English tune. He who has clean hands and a pure heart, who has not lifted up his soul to an idol, nor sworn deceitfully, he shall receive blessings from the Lord and righteousness from God of his salvation. This is Jacob, the generation of those who seek him, who seek your face, Selah. Lift up your hands, O you gates, and be lifted up, you everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, O you gates. Lift up, you everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord of hosts. He is the King of glory, Selah. To you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. O my God, I trust in you. Let me not be ashamed. Let not my enemies triumph over me. Indeed, let no one who waits on you be ashamed. Let those be ashamed who deal treacherously without cause. Show me your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths. Lead me in your truth and teach me, for you are God of my salvation. On you I wait all the day. Remember, O Lord, your tender mercies and your loving kindness, for they are from old. Do not remember the sins of my youth, nor of my transgressions. According to your mercy, remember me for your goodness' sake, O Lord. Good and upright is the Lord, therefore he teaches sinners in the way. The humble he guides in justice, and the humble he teaches his way. All the paths of the Lord are mercy and truth to such and keep his covenant and his testimonies. For your name's sake, O Lord, pardon my iniquity, for it is great. Who is the man that fears the Lord? Him shall he teach the way he chooses. He himself shall dwell in prosperity, and his descendants shall inherit the earth. The secret of the Lord is with those who fear him, and he will show them his covenant. My eyes are ever toward the Lord, for he shall pluck my feet out of the net. I've turned to this a few times, which happens a lot. The amount of times in my dictionary I've turned to plastic is ridiculous. My eyes are turn yourself to me and have mercy on me, for I am desolate. I am afflicted. The troubles of my heart have enlarged. Bring me out of my distress. Look on my affliction and my pain, and forgive all of my sins. Consider my enemies, for they are many, and they hate me with cruel hatred. Keep my soul and deliver me. Let me not be ashamed, for I put my trust in you. Let integrity and uprightness preserve me, for I wait for you. Redeem Israel, O God, out of their troubles. Yeah. Right. 5 words from the English dictionary. Parody. A humorous or satirical imitation of a serious piece of literature or writing. Flip. To toss or put in motion with a snap of a finger and a thumb. Reasoning. The act or process of one who reasons, the process of drawing conclusions. Sheaf. One of the bundles in which cereal plants as wheat, rye are bound after reaping. Restitution. Reparation made by giving an equivalent or compensation for loss, damage, or injury caused. Indemnification, the restoration of property or rights previously taken away, conveyed, or surrendered. Restoration to the former or original state or position. Physics, the return of an elastic material to its original form when released from strain. That last one is to the federal government, and I am definitely waiting on that to arrive in my letterbox. My note of reformation for this absolute encroachment into my religious, political, family rights and property rights, and the right of me to continue my verbal transcription of my religious findings, both inherited and self-discovered on my journey in the nation known as Australia. Thank you.